Hello, and welcome to Friendship, Wellness, and Wisdom with your hosts, Heather and Rachel.
Together, we're here to talk about all things self-care, from fitness to mindfulness and everything in between.
Whether it's yoga, Tai Chi, Pilates, or practices like tapping and meditation, we're here to help you discover new ways to care for yourself.
We'll also share tips on positive self-talk, finding time for self-care, and creating routines that stick.
We're here to provide you with plenty of tips, tricks, and unsolicited life advice.
Remember to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. Join our community, and together we can explore the path to wellness. Well, welcome back to another episode of Friendship, Wellness, and Wisdom. Today we are talking about vibration versus frequency. So we're going to talk about what the difference is between these two things. So what is vibration and what is frequency? Heather wrote a blog on this, I guess, a while ago, and we're going to kind of unpack what these differences are. And talk a little bit about, gonna get into a good vibe here.
Yeah. So throughout my time of holistic wellness, I hear these words being thrown around. And people think that they're interchangeable and things like that. So what I'm sharing with you in this blog and what I'm sharing today is my understanding and how I work with vibration and frequency. And so there are two words that, like I said, people interchange them. They're like good vibes and raise your frequency and, all this, I call it woo woo, right?
Of course.
And which is fine. But it is, there are things in each one of them that kind of drives us. Like I said, for a long time, I thought they were the same thing too. As I got to studying and everything like that, I realized that they're very different things. So vibration is the energy that you feel in the moment. Like the vibration, you are feeling it right now in this moment. And so like when you walk into a room, you can feel the vibe of the room, right? You can feel that vibration, that energy of that in the room, kind of like the here and now. I talk to my students about like, you have your frequency is the radio station and your vibration is the song that's on the radio. Right? So
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, that's how I explain both of them so people could understand, like your frequency is your base, right? It's who you are. And then the vibration is like what's going on in the moment.
Of course. So yeah, what's the vibe, right? So we're going in and picking up on the vibration in the room, what's happening here and now in the moment.
Right. I think it's cool that people interchange them, that people even talk about them. I find that really cool, just for the plain fact that, a long time ago, people, if you talked about vibration or whatever, you were a hippie, you were, whatever. And now it's like, it's kind of common terminology.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a lot more commonplace. And it's just a very natural thing. And I think it's okay, again, to actually kind of be aware.
Right.
And like tuned in to what's going on, other than just like, oh, this is what we're talking about, this is what we're dealing with, and everything else just kind of goes away, because that's not.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important. A lot of people are, I think, getting into a little bit more taking responsibility for themselves, for, what it is they're doing and feeling, and what it is they're also then just putting back out there into the world.
Yeah.
And I think it's really nice to see people kind of noticing that and being able to be like, hey, you know what? This is something I can do. This is something I can change. I don't need to just take a pill or like,
Right. Yeah. Using the radio station analogy is so good because music can change that vibe for you.
Absolutely. Yeah, without a doubt. I use music a lot to kind of help me do exactly that, to kind of set the tone, like just to throw another. like for that to get myself into the space I want to be in,
Right.
throughout the day, like what I listen to in the morning,
Right.
what I listen to when I'm driving, as opposed to what I have on while I'm at work, because it like really kind of like sets the vibe, it sets the mood, and
Right.
it really does like it can really help me change my emotional direction just by changing my thinking.
Yeah, totally. It changes your tone.
Yeah.
It like the tone of how you are with other people and how you are with yourself, or how you perceive other people, right? That's like a really cool thing. So, and that's why the radio analogy is just so simple, because I think a lot of people do use sound, not just music, but sound, like singing bowls and chimes and nature sounds and things like that, to change their vibration, whether they know that they're doing it or they don't know that they're doing it. But I
Right.
believe that we are drawn to that because it does change our vibration, whether we're conscious of it or not.
But even still, just putting on the radio when I'm at work, what what I'm deciding to listen to will actually change, will affect my mood. So some days I want to listen to something kind of, soft and dreamy to kind of bring me like, into like a calmer space. And other days I want something like poppy and upbeat to kind of
Right,
uplift and to feel good. If I'm working out, maybe I want something a little bit like with a more driving beat to kind of get me pumped up so that I'm
right.
feeling like what I'm feeling, or if I want to stay awake, or if I want, like I'm getting ready to relax and
Yeah,
to go to sleep, and just literally putting on even your favorite song, something that just makes you feel great when you listen to it, sing it, dance to it.
right. Now, frequency is much different than that, right? So, frequency is much deeper. It's more like your home base, your soul,
Okay.
right? And so it's the energy that you're constantly broadcasting from. It's the energy that you bring into the room. It's the energy that you kind of resonate out and share with others, right? Frequency is your stability and your element per se,
Okay.
like how you change vibration. That would be like your base. So it is your baseline of how you live. And then, your mood is the frequency, the up and down of
Okay.
all
So
that.
you had mentioned, so frequency like shifts over time. All
Hmm.
right. So especially as we're learning and growing, and so can you share a little bit about like just kind of how does that really work? Like how is our frequency, like what we're tuning into? Like how is that changing? Like
Well, frequency changes over time because we are constantly changing, right? If it's our baseline, right,
mhm.
it changes with us. So it changes with our thought process, it changes with our belief system, it changes with our energy, our sleep patterns and
Okay.
all the things that we do that creates us,
Okay.
right? If you think of us as like we're like the house, right? And so our frequency would be like us putting, a second floor on the house, or us
Okay.
changing whatever we need to change with the house. And so as we grow, as we learn, as we get older, as we mature, our frequency changes with that. And so it's still our baseline, but it
Right.
changes with the baseline, right? It changes
Okay.
as your baseline changes.
So I think it's a important point that it's not all about like having like high vibes all the time, right? So you talk about how your frequency can shift even if your vibration feels low at times. Can you explain that? So yeah, I guess if your frequency is your baseline, but your vibes are like constantly changing, like how is, again, I think you kind of explained it, but I just
Yeah.
want to like,
So your frequency is your
break it down.
long-term energy that is influenced. It's how you show up in the world. And
Hmm.
then while your vibration is like your ebb and flow, right?
Okay.
So maybe you're sad that day, maybe you're happy that day, maybe you feel like you're in love or whatever. Those are all your vibrations. And
Okay.
then that frequency is that baseline. So like your frequency is, what's a good way to put it? It's kind of like your essence.
Okay.
If for lack of better term, it's like your soul and your essence, right? And that is your structure. So I think that when we look at certain things, and maybe I can explain it better this way, if if my baseline is usually I have this belief system and things are kind of structured in a certain way, if something happens in my life, my frequency doesn't change, my belief system and all that doesn't change, right?
Okay.
But it does drive my vibration because I see things in a certain way because of my frequency, right?
That
And
makes sense.
so,
Okay.
yeah, so if I'm like, and I'm trying to make it like super simple, even though it's not as simple as that, but trying to make it super simple to where if I have a certain belief system that this should happen
Right.
and this doesn't happen, and I think it's immoral that that didn't happen or whatever,
Okay.
my vibration is going to change. My frequency is not.
Right. Okay.
Right? It's kind of like that. Does that kind of make sense a little bit?
Yeah, no, I get that. Absolutely. I guess all it's kind of knowing like where you are, right? And what's going
Mhm.
on in the moment, all of that. So you're talking about at one point, like we're all instruments and we have the ability to tune our vibration and frequency. So what does that look like in real life? Like how are we actively looking to do these things?
Tuning your vibration. Like we've kind of talked about that a little bit, right? Tuning your
A little bit.
vibration would be changing your mood through song or changing your mood through activity or things like that, right? Changing your frequency would be healing trauma,
Okay.
or changing your frequency would be falling in love, right?
Okay.
Even though falling in love would be kind of vibration, but it changes your now, like your, if you become a partnership, right? That's going to change your frequency, right?
That makes sense. It's kind of like, yeah, where everything is coming from, right? That
Yeah,
again, that's the base. So you kind of changed your inner dynamic,
right.
really. And you're looking at everything kind of from a different perspective, which
Right.
then is going
Yeah.
to kind of change your outward vibrations
And that's
as well.
why, that's why the frequency changes, is because, trauma changes your frequency, healing from trauma changes your frequency, illness changes your frequency. I'm sure you can attest to how you felt at one time in your life to how you feel right now,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
And it's because you developed a system for your own frequency to be different, right? Not that anything has gone away for you, right? You just worked around changing your patterns in life and how you cope and deal with things. That's changing your frequency. That's more than you going on autopilot, which would change your vibration.
Okay. I love that you shared some journal prompts in your blog that you use often. So, how does vibration show up in my body today? And what frequency have I been operating on lately? How do these prompts help you in your own practice?
Yeah. So these prompts help me tune in to my energy and in like an honest way. Like, we talk about asking ourselves questions so our brains can search for those answers.
Right.
You bring that up all the time, and that's these journal prompts help you with that, right? To actually ask the question so your body can drop in and tap in to where you're at. The goal is to like never be judgy or force yourself into like feeling better or being better or things like that. The journal prompts are just to kind of like assess,
Okay.
more or less, not to really change anything, but you want to like really assess where you're at and why you're there. If
That makes
that
sense.
makes
I mean,
sense.
most of the time we're constantly talking about present moment awareness and being
Mm-hmm.
aware of what's going on. And
Right.
sometimes you just need to know what you're feeling
Right.
and
Yeah.
that it's okay to feel that. And because sometimes that in and of itself will help to kind of release it and you can move through it
Mm-hmm.
naturally instead of trying to like force yourself out, out of it. Because
Right.
the more you push stuff like that down, the more it hangs around for you.
Yeah. And
So,
I think, we've talked about it, when you don't feel well or when you are going through things that are super stressful, right? We all kind of like tap into like that autopilot and we don't even know truly how we're feeling
mhm,
and how we're vibrating, right? We don't know what our frequency is and we can't even comprehend how we are perceived by other people in that moment either, right? And
yeah,
so when we self-reflect, which the journal prompts are for that, when we self-reflect, it really helps us to kind of question, where are we in this moment? Number one, some things you can't change. And
right.
can you travel at a better vibration, even though things don't look so great in this moment? And how is your vibration affecting your frequency? Like, we change our belief systems when things happen in life. And, we brought up trauma earlier. And when people deal with trauma and illness and things like that, it changes our frequency. And then it does change our vibration. And can we kind of help be better in the moment with a better vibration in turn as we continue on a better vibration, can we change our frequency,
Okay.
right? And it goes both ways, right? When you change your frequency, you do change your vibration, but you can work it backwards too. you know I talk about us working backwards in yoga all the time. Like, at one time, yoga was you did movement so you can sit in many hours of meditation. Now people do the asana practice. They don't even know about the 8 limbs. It's not something that a lot of people practice. They look at yoga as an exercise. But
Right.
as they do the practice, their mind shifts and they think of things differently and they drop into meditation, whether they realize it or not, because at the end of class and in the beginning of the class, that's what we do. We breathe and meditate.
Well, yeah. And I think too, even to do with yoga itself, to get into those poses, you need to focus so much of your energy and your attention on what it is you're doing.
Right.
If you're like, especially when you're new at it, it takes everything you have
Right.
to get into that pose and then to hold it.
Right.
So it really forces you to kind of be in the moment.
Yeah. To drop in. Yeah,
Yeah.
you definitely
There's
have to
no,
drop
yeah,
in.
it's very difficult not to be like kind of right there,
Yeah.
present in your body at that moment because
And a
you're
lot
not
of
going to be able to do it otherwise, which
and
I
a
think
lot
is
of
great.
people that practice yoga a lot and they are seasoned practitioners, they do go on autopilot, right?
Right.
And they don't drop in because they're on autopilot because
Right.
they
No, and you're doing your grocery list in your head because
yeah,
it's now like second nature.
right, right. And
And then you almost have to kind of come up with like little things to like
yeah,
bring your focus back,
right.
obviously.
And I think that's the same thing. Like when we're assessing ourselves, whether it's with vibration and frequency or we're assessing our day or things of that nature, I think journaling for me is such a prominent thing in my life, just for the plain fact that I think writing things down, number one, helps my memory. Number
Hmm.
two, I feel like actually handwriting stuff is a lost art. And
I love
then
handwriting stuff. It actually does it. It makes things so much more real for
Mhm.
me when I write something on a piece of paper as opposed to typing it out,
Yeah, totally. And
especially when emotions are involved.
I remember it better too.
I
And
do
I
too.
process better. When I'm typing it, I'm not processing it like I do when I write it. There's something about that journal prompt and actually writing something out. And honestly, like, I think when you are tapping in, when you're doing a holistic practice and you're tapping in that way, and you're trying to assess where you are with vibration and frequency, because we're talking about that today. But when you're tapping into that, even writing things down, even if you're not using these journal prompts, but you're just writing things down, that will change your vibration, right? That will change. Like if you're spun up and you write
Mm-hmm.
it, and you release it, it will change that vibration for you, you know? And so
Absolutely.
there's tons of ways to actually change your vibration and frequency. But I think sound for me is a big one. I do singing bowls and sound tuning forks and humming and chanting and things of that nature. And I know you hum and sing and
Yeah.
um, stuff like that. And so I think those are like the easiest ways to change the vibration.
Absolutely. Yeah, that
Um,
definitely, especially if you're in, and we didn't really get too in detailed with this because there wasn't a lot of it in the blog. But like the different levels of vibration,
right.
like as you're like, your lower vibrations, as you get into your higher vibrations. I think if you're at like at least somewhere like at a midpoint and you're trying to raise your vibration, active things like that can definitely help like shift your mood.
Right.
Um, but what happens when you're in like the lower vibrations where like if you're like not even depressed, like if you're at a point where you're like numb, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna be like pretty low. You got to take a couple steps up even to get angry
Yeah.
from there. So
I,
like, we're talking about things that like might shift you into like a better mindset,
right.
but I wanted to kind of bring this up. Like, so when you're like feeling almost like not, you're shutting down, like you've kind of had it, like you're on literally functioning on autopilot, your vibration is low. Sometimes you need a couple steps up to even get to like annoyed,
Yeah.
to get angry, to
Yeah.
get to, and I remember telling you too, like I lived somewhere like
Mhm.
emotionally at angry for a while because I was just going through the motions all the time that like when I felt anything, it went there first because
Yeah.
I was, I
And
wasn't hitting thresholds.
I think a lot of people, whether they realize it or not, go through that. And I think the key with that is, you know, people suffer with depression and all different types of things that are chemical imbalances and things of that nature. And, you know, I've heard from a lot of people like there are days where they feel numb and they don't feel anything and things like that. And it's very interesting to me on how different people can find just one glimpse of something to, whether it's a weighted blanket
Right.
or something to find them comfort in a moment. Maybe they don't ever get to that anger or anything, and maybe they need to sleep it off, or maybe they just need to get up and wash their face, or maybe they just need some water or a walk, or maybe they're not in that state that they can even do that, right?
Yeah.
And so the encouragement would be, what is that little thing to get you to that next level, like you were just talking about? What is it?
Right.
Right. And then once you get there, like it's not a race at that point, right? Once you get there, then you have to go to the next level and you got to just keep chipping away at what the next thing is. And I think it's different for everybody. Like, I don't think any of this is one size fits all.
Well, no, too. I know for myself, like even when I'm not feeling right, sometimes I have to try like 3 or 4 different things
Mhm.
before I feel better. Like sometimes I'm like, all right, I'll have something to drink.
Right.
All right, did that do it? Not so much. And it's like, you go through a couple of things and then you're like, you know what? I'm going to eat something. And all of a sudden, like maybe it was the combination of all the things. Maybe it was that you just
Right.
needed to eat in the first place, but it like something then shifts and changes. And it can be different for each person, even each time
Right.
they go through it. I think the biggest trick for that is like, I don't want to feel this way. Not even like that I want to feel better. I'm like, I just want to change how I feel.
Right.
And what can I do? Like you're asking yourself, what can I do to shift,
Yeah.
to have a shift in like how I'm feeling? And, like always, your brain will just kick in and you'll start being like, oh, okay, well, maybe I need to go to the bathroom. Well,
Yeah.
maybe I need a drink of water.
Right.
Maybe I need a cup of coffee,
Yeah. I think
maybe I need to eat an entire pizza and 12 donuts. No.
You're not gonna feel good after that.
No,
You're
that's
not gonna feel
definitely,
good.
but you will feel different.
You will feel different, yes.
You will
You'll
definitely
feel
feel different.
something.
I don't recommend that, but it's like just,
Yeah.
sometimes it's just where your brain goes.
The other thing is too, like, the vibration of the body, right? I
Mhm.
know I use a shaker plate. I know some people that use shaker plates. I know some people that just do that, like the body tapping. I know the EFT tapping. Just some vibration through the body changes and shifts a lot of things for people. And
I will
so,
actually do that. I will literally just shake every
hmm
morning after I do a little bit of a lymphatic drainage
hmm
massage. Some days I'll do like dry brushing,
I
but
do
when I'm
both.
done,
Yeah.
I will literally just kind of like shake in however I feel like doing it, whatever I
Right.
feel like my body needs that day. And I almost always end up laughing and smiling when I do that. It absolutely like raises my vibration.
Right.
I can't do that. I've yet to do that, I should say, without smiling
Right.
in the process of
Yeah.
it. Because I'll just keep, I'll do my hands, I'll stand up, I'll shake my legs. I'll get to a point where I'm like just doing this, and that's usually what gets me usually what gets me laughing. I'll like bounce, up and
Right.
down on my heels. And it's such a
I have
great
people shake
wake
when
up.
they're in down dog. Bounce in down dog is because it just shakes your whole body and you're just
Yeah.
pushing off your hands and your legs. And so we do like this shake or this shimmy in down dog. And people are like, oh, that's kind of fun, you know? And so it's something different, right? It's something that gets you out of a pattern and it's
I
nice.
think that sometimes all that's, yeah, you just need that little, like that little shift. It
Yeah.
really is. It's like an actual physical shift. Like
hmm
doesn't have to be, but that, in that way, like it's very literal
Right.
but
Right.
it works.
Yeah. And I think, it's all about trying to figure out what works best for you, just like everything
Mhm.
that we talk about, right? Nothing is a one size fits all.
No, and
And
each person, each time, like I said, may be different. Like different situations are going to warrant different things. And again, so it's nice to have that toolbox to have like different things
right.
that you can try,
Yeah.
like
I
put your routine together. And
I have some people that come to singing bowl that cannot feel the vibration of the bowls. At the end of class, I allow them to come up and feel the vibration of the bowls. And some
Mhm.
people cannot feel the vibration of the bowls. Some people can't hear the tone of the tuning forks.
Oh wow.
They just can't.
And I'm someone who like some days that would be too much for me.
hmm
Like because I would feel it
Yeah.
like so much sometimes that
Yeah.
I'd be like, yeah, today's not a good day for this. I gotta like,
I have a client that when she first started coming, she would lay like right by, like she would be like right in the front row. And now something has shifted in her life that she cannot be so close to the bowl. She
yeah.
has to now be in the back of the room, even though she still comes and enjoys it, but she's like, I can't be that close. She's like,
It
it
just gets
actually,
like too intense.
yes, it is so intense in her body that she can't tolerate being so close to the bowls. So, yeah, I just think it's different for everybody. And I can tell you that there are days that I play that some of the singing bowls, like, actually are not, they don't feel well as I'm playing them. And
Hmm.
some of them make me like tear up, like
Yeah.
as I'm playing them, I just kind of like get like all choked up and teary and emotional and everything. And I'm glad we're in a dark room and people have their eyes closed as I weep over the bowls. But yeah, so I think, it doesn't mean that you're doing anything right, doing anything wrong. You just have to find where your baseline frequency is in a moment in your life, and then work on your vibration and see, it's your radio station and your music that you're listening to. Changing your station and listening to different music might help. So
That sounds good. I think too, it might be a good idea. I know I'm gonna look up. We discussed like a few different ways to like really change your vibration. So I think it'll be fun, like kind of looking up some new fun exercises to kind of like shift your mood, change your vibration,
yeah,
see what else is out there, just to kind of switch things up. I mean, we did mention so like there's the bowls,
yep,
right? So music,
yep,
dancing, exercise,
yep,
shaking, humming,
yes,
all like
tapping,
tapping,
Reiki, um yeah, yoga, move, any kind of movement,
any kind
any
of
kind of
movement. Yeah,
movement.
absolutely.
Yeah, Tai Chi, all that. Anything, laughing. There are like, they actually
Absolutely.
have these seminars where they do like these laugh things where you pretend to laugh and it gets so contagious. It's like you're starting
Yeah,
like a
I've
fake
seen
laugh.
stuff on that. I remember I was researching I was researching that during COVID, I think, just
Hmm.
because everyone needed such like a mood shift and like
Yes,
something new. So I was actually doing some research and I was playing a lot of videos that I had found for my clients, like using it, just practicing laughing just
yes,
to kind of like get that. And it really does it is another way to like kind of change your mood, like change your vibe.
yeah,
Like,
totally. Yeah. And so there's a ton of different ways: walking, running, barefoot outside,
mhm.
a grounding technique. Um, yeah, and all of them are, these are all chakra things too, right? So when you're humming, you're vibrating your vocal cords. When you're singing, you're vibrating your vocal cords. It's your throat chakra. Um, and so it also like changes the vibration in the head and the sinus
Mhm.
and things like that. And some people worship changes their vibration, right? Worship and prayer and chanting and whatever they believe in, that changes their vibration. And so I think that there's so many different things to explore and know
Absolutely.
that I say this all the time lately, and it's it's what's getting me through. Nothing lasts forever, right?
Yeah. Yep. It's
Nothing.
also like, yep, this too shall pass. Like
Yeah.
that's it. Like
So whether it's good or bad, it doesn't last forever.
yep, no, it's gonna change. Like that's the one constant in life is everything's always changing.
Yes. And so, yeah. So I'm glad that we had this talk. I really dig vibration and things like that. I like that we have the ability and the control, especially the tools,
Right.
and
And I
we carry them in our container.
exactly. And I think that was why I was like, I wanted to add that at the end. It's just there's so many things that we do on a daily basis that can do this for us. And when someone runs down a list like this and you're like, oh, I do that, I think just having that, like, hey, you know what? I do this. I do notice that, I do this when I'm feeling a certain way. And once you kind of realize that and that awareness comes to it, it then becomes like, oh, I can use this as a tool. So now I know that this is something I can use and practice. And then maybe there's like a handful of other things you're like, you know what? Maybe I work that into my day like a few more times to kind of add to that change.
Yeah.
So
Creating too, like doodling and creating and things like cooking. Oh my God,
yeah.
cooking totally changes my vibration. I love to cook. I love to cook for the family, and that just changes like everything, like the smell of good food and then the taste of it. It's like, yeah, that's awesome. So there's
That's
so
a really
many
good
things.
point. Yeah, there's so many things. So like it'd be great. Like sit down and think about like all the things that do that kind of like change your mood, like uplift you, calm you down,
Yeah.
relax you, work you up.
Yeah.
Like all of those things. And when you kind of need that switch or that change, or you can go back to that and be like, oh, okay, well, you know what am I up to? Like, what do I feel like I can do out of these list of things to kind of get the change that I want? And it's really nice that you have that ability. You don't need to just kind of sit there and wait for it to come to you. You can go, wait, when I do this, I feel like this.
Yeah. It's nice.
You
It's
practice.
nice to recognize.
Right.
And it gets easier, right?
It does. Well, I think
as
the
you
more you
recognize it.
practice, yeah, the more you practice, right? The more you refine, the more you
Mhm.
can like tune and in tune and like, come up with these things that really work for you, and it can be fun. I think that's the best part of it is like knowing that, hey, I can do this and I don't have to have all the answers and I can practice and
Right.
I can get better or decide I don't want to do it anymore. And it's yours and no one else even has to like have a say in it.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. You don't
Right?
even
It's like,
have
because who
you don't have
cares?
to
Like,
shout it from the rooftop either.
nope.
So, well, I love this conversation and thank you for asking me the questions. And I'm glad we talked about it today.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's a really fun topic and there's so much on the topic, I think, to explore. So if you
Yeah.
do like do a deep dive, I know that there's courses out there on vibration and changing your vibration
Mm-hmm.
and all of that, simple little things.
I'm actually, this is one of my first sound healing books that it's called Sound Healing for Beginners.
Mm-hmm.
And this was like my very first sound healing book. And there's a ton of them that talk about vibration and changing your vibration and working with your own frequency in your body, and even finding like there's books that help you find your vibration and your frequency, like what your frequency is in your body and all that stuff. So there's a ton of stuff out there, YouTubes and all the things.
Yes, there's a ton of videos out there. There's a lot of great stuff. And even if you just want to like get a little listen, there's tons of stuff on like Spotify, on YouTube. You can listen to the singing bowls. Like a lot of them will have like chakra balancing and tuning.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So, well, until next time.
All right. Thanks guys for hanging out with us.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Friendship, Wellness, and Wisdom. Don't forget to subscribe or follow us wherever you get your podcasts. And follow us on social media for more updates. See you next time.